Good morning and welcome to Flannel Hill Farm. This video is going to be a little wonky, but it's going to be very informational. So bear with me here. I'm going to tell you how I am planting our bare root plants. And I'm going to go from we have no hole at all. We have a bare root plant, gooseberry, and stuff. I'm going to show you what I have. I'm going to show you what makes it easier for me, and then I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do it. So it might be a little long, but I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to cut anything out. So I have, I don't know if you call it a pickaxe or pickmatic, whatever. This thing, one of these, a shovel, whatever size shovel you like, little spade thing. I have some manure. I have some blood meal, which is something you have to be very careful of. A little bit of blood meal goes a long way. And a measuring tool. So every 5 feet is what we need for a gooseberry bush. So from this first gooseberry bush over to that box is 5 feet, according to my Rolly tape measuring device. So we are going to do that. Gooseberry bush needs about 3 to 5 feet. That's its radius. So we're gonna pull it off the fence, roughly 3 feet. If it's a little closer, it doesn't matter. It'll just grow through the fence. It'll put pokey stuff on the outside of the fence. Not a big deal. It'll keep critters from trying to get through the fence. Either way, it works. So here we go. We need a hole roughly at the end of this box. As you can see, the line then will match. So I'm aiming for this stick here. This pickaxe is something that is very dangerous, so you need to be very careful of what's around you. We're gonna start with the pointy end to get through the grass and the sod layer. Now that we've roughed it up, we're going to use this end to actually make a somewhat of a hole. For anybody that's wondering, that's a great way to get through rocks. I don't know what this is. It kind of looks like some raspberries, but because I don't know what it is, I'm gonna pull it out. From this point, we can make our hole the size that we would like. Now this is something you'll have to do your own research on. I like to make my hole quite a bit bigger than the plant that I'm planting. So those ones up in the truck that are in a pot, they recommend you make it like half again as big. With bare root, I like to give them plenty of room to establish their roots before they hit solid ground and they have to start working with native soil, solely with native soil. So now what I'm gonna do is, this is just a hole. There's nothing in there. It's just regular soil underneath there. There's nothing. At this point, I am going to put manure down in there. Not much, just a little. Manure has quite a bit of nutrition in it for plants. So again, you don't want to overpower it with nutrition before it gets going. You can fry the plant. Now these, I took the box off and it comes in a bag. It's got a twist tie here. You take that twist tie off. And then we're gonna open this bag. Now inside this bag, now these are very pointy, so we gotta be very careful where we pick this thing up. But that is all the plant is, that little bit of root system. And on these, you wanna make sure that you don't bury them more than they were originally buried. So that line is roughly here. So we need to bring this hole back up to about there. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna bring this hole back up with the soil that it was shipped in. And then we're gonna fill around that with our native soil. So just putting back the dirt that we originally took out, making sure that we're not putting any actual like grass or any finished grass roots. So you don't want to just put that back in there because that'll just come back as grass. We don't want that. Make sure you put any worms back. Every hole that I have dug for these bushes, I've found a worm and I have just put that worm right back in that hole. And I don't like worms, but I have put them back in the hole without really having to touch them. Worms are fantastic. They create better soil. They create soil in general. They're good things. They're just slimy and gross. So we're just gonna put this back here. And we're gonna leave a divot. So we have pat it down a little bit. We got a little bit of a divot here. We're gonna keep that divot this way. Any rain that happens can get stuck in here. We're also going to fill that divot with wood chips. So I'm going to soak some wood chips and then I'll bring them down here and I'll fill it up and maybe mound it up a little bit so that that water will get sucked in here. And then those wood chips will slowly release the water to the tree, to the bush. That's it. That's how you plant bare root. Not very difficult. On top, some people mix it in, some people put it on top. I put it on top, just a little bit, goes a long way. I put it all over that hole and I leave that, and as water hits it, it'll sink down. The tree will be able to get those nutrients. Bush will be able to get those nutrients as it wants it. And you're not overpowering it with nutrition, you're just letting it have it when it wants it. So that is how you plant a bare root bush. Same thing would happen with a tree. It might just need to be a little deeper, but the same thing with a tree and a bush. You never want to bury it more than it was buried originally. There's tomatoes, you can do that because tomatoes will actually grow new roots. With a tree, you're actually harboring it from getting as high as it's supposed to get, and doing its thing. And the reason that that's important is because if you are solely focused on cross-pollinating your trees with the wind, they have to be roughly the same height, and they have to be no more than 30 feet apart so that the wind can carry that pollen between the trees. So by burying one too low, you can actually, it'll just go over that tree and your cross-pollination won't work. So good things to know. We're gonna finish up these two, and then I think I'm done for the day when it comes to planting. That is a 5-pound pickaxe, and that thing will kick your butt. So after that, I think I'm done planting for the day. We're gonna have to get the tractor out here to get this roll of fencing and get that up top, and I'll have to clean up my mess here. Not a big mess though. I just have my bucket and my tote and my 2 tools, so not a big mess, not a big deal. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. The box gives you a lot of information on it, so depending on what you need, a lot of good information. So I highly recommend this company. This company is very good. I don't know if their stuff grows yet. It sure looks like it does, but we'll have to see. So on your way back down the hill, if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing, subscribing, hitting that little bell notification button thing down there. Please remember, we appreciate y'all.